Okay, guys. So let us now translate the following verbal phrases to mathematical expression. So always take note of the term n should be any number. So the sum of a number and 10, which means your sum, means always addition. Hindi magbabago yung meaning ng sum natin, that it will always means addition. It is a basic term, so therefore, sana wag na kayo magkamali dyan, okay? Next is the difference of a number and 20. Difference means subtraction. The difference of a number and 30. N minus 30. Dito na una yung tinutukoy mo. Okay? Please wag mong pabaliktad yung subtrahen at yung binuhin mo. Okay? So, the product of 15 and a number. The product will always denote multiplication. It will always denote multiplication. Difference will denote subtraction. Alam niyo na yun, di ba? Because these are just the basic. Since elementary, meron to. Subtraction. 1/10 of a number. So, 1/10, pag may nakita kang 10 dyan, 1 does 10, it means a fraction. Or it is a percentage. Or it can be written as your decimal. Okay? 1/10. Specifically, your 1/10 can be rewritten into 0.1, right? If you will rewrite it into the decimal, but this is the correct term, 1/10, because when you are talking about mathematical expression, you are just expressing your verbal phrase. Okay, it does not tell you to solve the expression. Okay, the square of a number subtracted from 10. So your square, the square of a number, can also be rewritten into square of a number. A number raised to 2. Okay, they are synonymous. It is synonymous to square of a number. Trace a number less than 10. So, dito tayo, marami nagtanong dito about your less than. Which means you will subtract it to 10. Trace a number subtracted to 10. You will subtract your number or your unknown number to 10. So 10 minus 3n. Don't confuse yourself with that. So pag nagkamali kayo, take note that it is not equal to 3n minus 10. It will never be equal to that expression. Okay? But pwede maging equal yung negative 3n plus n. Okay? It is not equal to 3n minus 10. Then 10 more than the reciprocal of a number. I would like to emphasize your reciprocal. A reciprocal means it is just the number n. A reciprocal means 1 all over n. That is your reciprocal. If your n is equal to 1 over n, therefore the reciprocal of 1 over n is n. Reciprocal of 1 over n is n. Example, your 1 half. The reciprocal of 1 half is 1 all over n. Yan yung sinabi nating equation kanina, which is equal to 1 all over our 1 half, which is equal to 2. Right? If you are getting the reciprocal of a fraction, you will get a whole number. But if you are getting a reciprocal of a whole number, you will get a fraction. Next is the square root of the difference of a number and negative 5. So your square root can be rewritten into raised to 1 half. Raised to 1 half. So we may rewrite this into n minus negative 5 raised to 1 half. Sir, bakit hindi naging n plus 5? Okay. If you are answering about the mathematical expressions, please do not simplify the problem. The expression. If you are asked to translate verbal phrase into mathematical expression, never attempt to simplify it. Okay? But if you are asked to solve for the mathematical sentence, okay, that means that yung mathematical sentence mo, gagawin mo na siyang close, wherein it may be true or false based on your calculations, and also the symbols like equal, greater than, or less than. Okay? But if they are asking you to translate that phrase into verbal, into mathematical expression, therefore no need to manipulate the problem. Okay? Next is 15 less than a number. It is equal to the, or it is the same as our example number 7. Trace a number less than 10. This one is 15 less than a number. So that you will subtract 15 to that number and minus 15. Okay? Next is twice the sum of a number and 15. So it denotes that first you must add 15 to n to 15 before multiplying by 2. Okay? So twice the sum of a number and 15. Because of the word sum, because of this word sum, we are informed that we need a parenthesis between n plus 15. Okay? How about if there will be no parenthesis? Sabihin lang natin 2n plus 15. Do you think it would be the same? The answer is no. This is wrong. Because probably the proof of this is that if you simplify the expression, you will see that you will multiply 2 to n, you will have 2n, and you will multiply 2 to 15, we have 30. Right? Therefore, it proves that 2n plus 15 is wrong. If the expression is twice a number plus 15, we can get an equation equal to expression equal to this one. Okay? If the question is twice a number plus 15. Okay? Next is the square of the sum of 5 and number. Okay? So as I have said, the square of the sum is synonymous to the sum of a number of 5 and number raised to 2. Okay? Next, the sum of the squares of two consecutive numbers. So when you are talking about consecutive numbers, it is yung magkasunod na number. You have positive or negative integer yan. Magkakasunod sila. We have n1, then n2, n3, n4. Your n2, let's say we have 1, this 19. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These are example of consecutive number. Consecutive number. Okay? We have our n is equal to 1. And then, if you get the difference, you can see that it is 1. The difference of 2 and 1 is 1. The difference of 3 and 2 is 1. The difference of 4 and 3 is 1. And the difference of 5 and 4 is 1. Okay? So therefore, it is safe to say that the consecutive number can be rewritten into n at 1 plus n2, which is equal to n1 plus 1, and then your n3, which is equal to n2 plus 1. Okay? Take note that this can be denoted into n1, which is equal to n, or 1, let's say 1, your n2, which is denoted by n1 plus 1, but take note that our n1 is equal to 1, therefore it can be 1 plus 1, which is equal to 2, and our n2 will be equal to n3, which is equal to n2 plus 1, which is equal to, our n2 is equal to 2, so 2 plus 1 is equal to 3, which is also denoted by n4, which is equal to n3 plus 1, which is equal to 3 plus 1 equals 4. So you can see that at n1 is equal to 1, there will be a consecutive terms, right? Mag-guess naman kayo guys kung okay lang. Look, online pala to, sorry, online. Next is about the sum of your consecutive integers. So tataas natin siya para malaki yung pagsulatan natin. So how about consecutive odd integers? Consecutive odd integers, we have consecutive or odd numbers. So take note that your odd number are any number that cannot be divided exactly by 2. So merong at merong remainder niyan. Okay? So we have your n1, n2, n3, n4, and so on and so forth to your n. The formula for an odd numbers are the different odd numbers can be expressed as 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Ito yung nakakalito na part, okay? I may say that this will be my one term, first term, second term, third term, fourth term, fifth term. But our formula for this odd number is equal to 2n plus 1, letting our first term n sub 1 be equal to 0. Okay? N at 0. Sabihin natin n at 0, which is equal to 1. So 2 multiplied by 0 is equal to plus 1 is equal to 1. That is our n1 at n is equal to 0. Okay? Or at n0 term, n0, which means that your n is equal to 0. This is our first term. First term. Our second term will be n2, wherein your n is equal to 1. Okay? Second term, our n is equal to 1, which means that we have 2 multiplied by 1 plus 1 is equal to 3. And our third term is n third, wherein our n is equal to 2. So we'll have a value equal to 2 multiplied by 2. 2 multiplied by 2 plus 1 is equal to 5. This is our n3. So take note that we have n0, n2, n3. Our n4 is equal to our third term, n3, which is equal to 2 multiplied by 3 plus 1, which is equal to 7. This will be our odd integers. How about if consecutive even integers? Consecutive even. What are the even numbers? These are numbers that can be divided exactly by 2. Diba? Ganun lang yun. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Okay. Balik tayo sa kuan natin. We have n1. And then, the next term will be n2. The third term will be n3. The fourth term will be n4. But our n1 is equal to 2n. But what is our n? Our n is equal to our first term, which means that our n1 is equal to 2. Our n2 is equal to 2 multiplied by 2 and 2, which is equal to 2. We have 4. n3, which is equal to 2 multiplied by 3. We have n3 equals 6. Okay? 2, 4, 6. These are the even integers. So, paano pag given na yung even integer? Ang gagawin mo lang is that yung even integer plus 2. Kasi nga, ang difference nito is always 2. We have a difference equal to 2, 2, and 2. Okay? example number 2. So 3/5, which means 3 over 5, which is equal to 450. So another is yung sum of two numbers. So never assume that your number are equal. So hindi pwedeng n plus n equals 15 kasi magiging 2n siya. Take note that your x plus y is not equal. If you are solving for two numbers, pag hindi sinabing equal siya, never assume that they are equal. So therefore represent x as your number 1 and your y as your number 2. Okay? Or we may say that it can be represented into n1, which is equal to n of first number, and your n2, which is equal to your second number. Okay, it can be rewritten into n1 plus n2, which means the second number, which is minus 15. Okay? Or any variable as long as it would give you or indicate that the numbers are not equal. Next is the 20% of the total cost. So 20% of total cost means it is your 20 over 100. Percent means 100. 20 all over 100, which is equal to 0.2 multiplied by total cost. Okay, let's say this is your TC. Yan. Total cost. Or it can be represented as 0.2 multiplied by n. Take note that your total cost and n are the same because they are variables expressed. Let's move to our third example. Translate the following verbal sentence into mathematical sentences. So, in this example, guys, we are translating your verbal into mathematical sentence. But take note the difference between your mathematical expression and your mathematical sentence. Your mathematical sentence is a complete thought wherein it is giving you an order to solve the problem. It is preparing you to solve the problem. Your mathematical expression is a part of that sentence. So, example, 15% of the total expenditures. That is a mathematical expression. Is 15,000 pesos. Therefore, you are making a mathematical sentence. 15% of x is equal to 15,000 pesos. Wherein your x is answerable by mathematical equation or mathematical solutions. In this form, your percent form cannot be solved. So therefore, the best thing to do is to transform it into its decimal form or into its fraction form. In its decimal form, it is 0.15 multiplied by x, which is equal to 15,000 pesos. And in its fractional form is that it is equal to 15 all over 100x, which is equal to 15,000 pesos. So take note that when you are talking about your verbal sentence, you or mathematical sentence, you are not, unless the problem is stated to solve the problem, you will not solve the problem. You will just present the mathematical sentence that will make the problem either true or false, depending on the question. Okay? Next is your gross sales less taxes is 20,000 pesos. In this example, we are proposing the value of gross sales and taxes. But in this situation, you are already prepared for the first equation. One equation. The problem for this Uh, the problem for this example is that it is not solvable, basically because it has only one equation. The requirement in order to solve problems like this is that you should have two equations, two unknowns. Though the mathematical sentence is correct, but if you will be asked to solve for the problem, you cannot solve it because there is a lacking equation. Try to notice your example number 3. My classmates' monthly allowance is twice what my roommates receive in a month. Their combined monthly allowance is 36,000 pesos. So notice that on the statements there are two solutions or two equations. The first equation is that you will relate your classmates' monthly allowance to my roommates. The expression is that twice my roommates receives is equal to my classmates' monthly allowance. So therefore, I will say that X be the classmates' monthly allowance and Y be the roommates' monthly allowance. Take note that this X and Y can also be represented by any variable like your A equals X or B equals X or N1 over N2 and N2. Okay? So, you may represent any variable in the alphabet to your uh, phrases. Okay? My classmates' monthly allowance is twice my roommates. The first statement connects your X and Y, which means that it is telling you that the first equation is equal to this. This will make this problem solvable. Bakit? Basically, if you want to solve for the value of your X and Y later on, it's that you will just substitute Y with substitute X with 2Y. Substitute X, where you will get an equation equal to X plus Y is equal to 36,000. But accordingly, your X is equal to 2Y plus X plus Y is equal to 36,000. Wherein 2Y plus Y is equal to 3Y. So you will have a value equal to 36,000, or your Y is equal to 12,000, and your X is equal to 2Y, which means is equal to 24,000. This is the value of your X and Y when you are asked to solve for the values of your X and Y. So this is solvable. Unlike your first statement or second statement or second example is that there is no other mathematical sentence that would define or connect either one of the variables. Okay? In this second, this third example is that there are two equations that connect each other. They connect your X and Y, and they connect the sum of your X plus Y. Right? So, next, your example number 4. Number 4 in your example number 3. Jacob's average of 2 exam is 96. The first exam is 8 points higher than the second. So, in this example, you can see that two equations are also defining each other. We have the average. Take note that the average is equal to your sum of the terms divided by the number of terms. In our first term, or your first exam, it is defined as Jacob's first exam, and your Y was defined as your Jacob's second exam. X plus Y. It is not necessary that it is consecutive. Take note that your x and y is any number that is different. They are not equal. If it was stated equal, therefore we may say that your x is equal to x or your x is equal to y. Therefore, 2x over 2 is equal to 4 is equal to 96. Therefore, it is easily solved. Wherein your x is equal to 96. But probably that can be that can also be a case if it will be solved or it would be stated with facts na x is equal to y, but probably there are calculations. Okay, so there are two terms. If you are taking the average, it is the summation of the term which is equal to x plus y, and there are two terms. So therefore, it is the average of two numbers which is equal to 96. This is our first statement. So, bakit hindi mo siya multiply ng 2 in order to tanggalin tong denominator? Probably, guys, I am not yet asking you to solve for the problem. Since I just want to represent the mathematical sentence, therefore I may say that x plus y divided by 2 is equal to 96. It denotes the average of my two exam is 96. Okay. Next is your x is equal to 8 plus y. So your 8 plus y denotes that the first exam is higher than the second. So therefore, take note na wag nyo pagbabalik ta rin itong mga variables nyo. Kung ano yung dinefine nyo dito sa first equations, it should also be the case in your second equation. Once na pagbaliktad mo, let's say, sinabi niya dito that the first exam is higher than the second exam. So, if you have your y is equal to, if your x is equal to your first exam, and then ginawa mong y is equal to your second exam in your first example, at ginawa mo dito sa third example as y is equal to 8 plus x, that is not the case. Because it would later on, it would mean that y is equal to 8 plus x. It would mean that your second exam is higher by 8 with the first exam. Therefore, it would not be the case. But you may rewrite it as y is equal to 8 minus x. X minus 8. Which means that your y is lesser by 8 with your x. Okay? So, in your example number 3, guys, basically, it should or you should label your variables correctly in the way that you should understand, and also the person that would solve your equation will understand. So, let's proceed to your mathematical sentence. A mathematical sentence is a mathematical expression which is either true or false. So take note that the mathematical expression is just a part of your mathematical sentence. So in this example, we have 25 plus 10 equals 35, which means it is true. Because mathematically, if we would add your 25 and your 10, we would have a value equal to 35. And then next is negative 5 plus negative 34 is equal to negative 29. It is false. Why? Basically, if you would add your negative 5 and negative 4, it has a value equal to negative 39, which means it is not equal to negative 29. Therefore, it is false. But if this statement would tell that your negative 39 is greater than negative 29, this is also false. Okay? But if it would be stated as negative 5 plus negative 34 is less than negative 29, therefore I may say that if you would compute the problem or solve for a problem, you have negative 39 which is less than negative 29, therefore it would make the equation true. Why? Because negative 29 is greater than negative 34. Tama ba? Because yung negative 29 mo, mas malapit siya sa Cartesian plane. Mas malapit siya kaysa sa negative 34 mo. Kaya mas malaki yung negative 29 mo kaysa sa negative 24. Negative 39. Okay? Next is that negative 39 greater than negative 29 is also false. Okay? Next is an open mathematical sentence. So, when you are talking about a mathematical sentence or open mathematical sentence, that you are going to define your x. I-define nyo yung x nyo. By dividing your x is that you will have a value of your x. So, upon solving for the value of x, you are making a close mathematical sentence. Or in a mathematical sentence which is known to be either true or false. So, pag ginawa mo siyang true, therefore, in order to make a statement right, solve the problem. Okay? What would make the example number 1 true? So, by solving it, x minus 10 is equal to 90. If my x is equal to 90, transpose natin yung 10 mo dito, plus 10 is equal to 100, this will make the equation true, right? If I would substitute x in its value, I will get a value equal to 90 equals 90. Tama ba? It would make the equation true. What would make your equation false? If your x is greater than or less or greater than 100 or of 10, or x is less than 10, therefore this would make the equation false. Why? Basically, if you would substitute 11 to negative 10, or if you solve I mean 100 dapat to. This should be 100. Okay? X should be 100. If you would substitute a value greater than 100 to this x, you will have a value which is not equal to 90. Right? Yun lang yun. That would make the equation false. Like, for example, nag-substitute ka dito ng 101. If you subtract negative 10 to 101, you will have a value of 91, which is not equal to 90, right? Next, your x squared minus 3x minus 4. So, how will you solve this one? So, actually, it is solvable by quadratic equation or your quadratic formula, or by simply factoring it. Tama ba? Pag finactor nyo to, pwede mong isolve yung x squared minus 3x plus minus 4. The factor of negative 4 and of negative 4 is x minus 4 multiplied by x plus 1. Take note that the your 4 can be, or negative 4 can be break down into negative 4 multiplied by 1. Okay, those are the factors of negative 4. So you have x minus 4 multiplied by x plus 1. So pag nag-multiply mo yung x minus 4, negative 4 dito, you have a value equal to negative 4. Negative 4 multiplied by x is equal to negative 4x. Next is 2 will multiply your 1 here. You will have a value of positive x. Negative 4x plus positive x is equal to negative 3x. If you would multiply your x to the x of the other, you will have a value of x squared. Therefore, our factor is correct. So there are values of your x and y in order to make your function or your sentence true. Where your x is equal to 4, x sub 1, and your x sub 2 is equal to negative 1. These are the values that would make your example or your x squared minus 4x true. Minus 3x minus 4 true. Value of x is equal to 4 and the value of x is equal to negative 1. In case that you would write a value like greater than or less than these two values, your 4 and negative 1, your answer would be false because of the equal sign. But in a case wherein the problem is asking a value greater than or lower than the value of x, is that it could give you the correct answer, which is the problem can be a false mathematical equation, a mathematical sentence. But if the mathematical sentence is asking you to give the true answer, therefore, find the value of your x and y. Next, a closed mathematical sentence is which is known to be either true or false. The mathematical sentence x squared plus 1 equals 0 has a solution in the set of real number. Okay? Okay. In our closed mathematical sentence, in our example 1, the mathematical sentence x squared plus 1 is equal to 0 as a solution in a set of real numbers. Take note that your real numbers are either negative and positive. But if we are going to evaluate this one, you have x squared plus 1 is equal to 0. So therefore, it is false. But since it is a mathematical sentence which is either true or false, therefore I may say that x squared is equal to negative 1. If you will later on ask if it is valid or it is true or false, therefore your answer is false. Because has no solution in the set of real numbers. Because x squared plus 1 can be rewritten into x squared equals negative 1, wherein the square root of x is equal to square root of negative 1. This negative 1 denotes an imaginary. Okay? Wherein there's a solution, but it is not in the set of the real numbers, but it is in the set of your imaginary numbers. Next, the value of x in the mathematical sentence is x minus 10 equals 90 is 100. This mathematical sentence is true. Basically, if you get the value of x, you will have a value equal to 90 plus 10, which is equal to 100. Okay? Next is the mathematical equation. If you are talking about the mathematical equation, is that you are asked to solve for the problem. It's the statement of equality between two algebraic expressions which contains one or two unknowns. If you already have a mathematical equation, you will be asked to solve for the problem. Actually, a mathematical equation is synonymous to your mathematical sentence. Only the difference is that your your equation is already in its simple form. Ano bang pwedeng term dito? Yung mathematical equation natin. It is already your mathematical sentence that are manipulated into a simpler equation on both sides of your equal sign, wherein you will solve for the equality sign of each of the mathematical expressions depending on the value of your x and y. Okay, so if you have any question, just ask me in my messenger or in our group chat. Thank you. Kasi, natin.